Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. Take two. We had some technical challenges earlier in the day, and that particular show will not be seen by any human being or any other terrestrial creature. So we are actually doing part two today, a few hours late due to daylight saving. And join us if you want. We're talking about repurposing content. And we've done several shows already this month in this series. This is part three, week three. I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to do in the show, and then we'll throw to the guests who are pretty heavy into making content. We'll have a bit of a chat about that. If you're listening in, join in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're going to talk a lot about the idea of what is your best performing content. Very important concept to ask. Most people don't know. Most people have never asked the question. What is your most prolific content? Where you put it? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Substack? Are you getting some kudos on LinkedIn? Are you doing YouTube Shorts? Are you doing funky little videos on TikTok? Are you checking this stuff? That's the question we're asking. What is your best performing content? And once you know that, we're then going to ask the question, how can you repurpose it? Where do you put it? What other sites can you try? It's a very cool concept to ask and to try, and we're going to pull it apart today. We've done several of shows on this. So I'm heavily using Substack, and I want to talk a lot about that today. I've got myself to 82 subscribers in 3 months and about 6,000 views every night, 60 days, so 30 days actually. So about 200 views a day on Substack. I reckon that's a pretty good result. That's 200 beings on the planet listening to me. How cool is that? And that's worth knowing. So I'll keep doing it. Now, as I said, this is an older stat from last week. I've got 82 subscribers, and I'm going for, and this is the big one, I'm going for 100 subscribers by Christmas. So please subscribe at substack.com /at keithkeller.au. And if you do indeed have any questions at all, please let me know. We'll answer those, and you can come on stage and talk about them if it's a time that suits you better than it was. We are multi-streaming to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Substack now. And that's going to be the way forward from now on. So I'll bring the guys back in, have a bit of a chat. Mate, Americo, you have got a big show coming up this week, but it's going to be your last show for the year, and then you're going to try repurposing. Tell us how you think you might do this repurposing thing.
Well, let's not kid ourselves, Keith. It's my last planned show for the year.
Okay.
I still have full intention of doing pop-up shows because I want to use December to test things out. You know, I'm testing Effie, EffieLive.com, and it is a new player in the marketplace. So I want to give them some time to see what we can do and how we can implement and stream on their platform in the new year. But I also want to test repurposing. So to answer your question, you know, what's working best? I can say hands down with extreme confidence that my live events on LinkedIn do really well. Now, we also know that the algorithm has changed. It is now a AI-driven algorithm. And I want to spend December trying to pick it apart and see if I can understand and help the live streaming community to how to, I guess, not beat the algorithm, but work alongside with the algorithm so that we can get...
What have you found so far? What have you found is working?
Well, I'm putting out a series of 8 tips this month, and I dropped my first tip today. And the first tip is stick to expertise. So if you're thinking of streaming, and if you're thinking of just, you got to stay laser focused on your area of expertise. And
I love this discussion because if you are a multidimensional being, which a lot of us are, perhaps you could use LinkedIn for one of those things. Like I love writing songs. I love doing shows. I'm also a Trekkie, a vegetarian, a headbanger. Well, no one's interested in my love of ACDC on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm not going to get any kudos for going to the ACDC concert in Melbourne in the pouring rain for that. No one wants to hear that story. So I just won't tell that story on LinkedIn. So
Exactly.
if we understand how LinkedIn works, we'll just give it what it wants. It wants one story. It wants one part of your character. It wants the main part. It doesn't want every part, and it doesn't want lots of parts. It gets confused. It's like a toddler, maybe. Hey, don't talk to me too fast. I don't know what you're saying. I'm 7. Come on. I'm 7 years old. I know people like this, right? So maybe
So
it doesn't take kindly to too many thoughts at one time. I'm joking to make a point, but
no, but
we're trying
that
to,
is exactly it.
yeah.
So before you hit the go live button, you got to ask. We have to ask ourselves: does this reinforce my professional identity? So I've kind of repositioned my headline so that it complements what LinkedIn is looking for. But I'm here to help people go live, stop overthinking going live on LinkedIn. But I've now added and beyond because there might be shows, there might be content that we want to stream, but we may not necessarily need to bring LinkedIn into the mix because we know LinkedIn isn't going to give us any traction, any visibility, and any amplification if it doesn't align with our profiles. Now, I'm also looking at testing hosting shows from a third party. So, for instance, I'm not a cybersecurity professional. I don't claim to be. I don't write in that space. So, can we curate and create a live event where I can moderate but host it from, let's say, Michael's profile? So, a few things I want to test and see how it responds. And, it's no secret, truth be told, I've had a few shows with good intentions. We wanted each of these shows to be the best that they could be. But some of them have fallen flat, not because they were bad in terms of content and in terms of conversation. Simply the algorithm may not have given me that push because I wasn't, and I remain not being an expert in the show that, and the genre and the conversation and the subject matter that I promoted the show to be.
I love this discussion. This is actually something very well worth saying. We have our own lane, and LinkedIn wants you to stick to your lane, one lane, one lane. So we know what our lane is. But if we have a guest that works in another lane, what you're saying, and this is very cool, this is very clever, you're actually getting them to host it on their site and you're helping them get the word out with your expertise as a sort of a co-host, aren't you? This is a new part of the plan, isn't it?
It could be a co-host, could be a moderator, or I can just be a silent contributor in the back on the back end and just help someone amplify their message and distribute it on their social channels.
This is very important. Mike, I know you're multidimensional like I am. Could you use LinkedIn in a very one-dimensional way, or does that feel a little bit restricting?
Well, just FYI, my plan is going to be multi-platform from the get-go for both bespoke musica and my track sales and streaming. So, for example, I'm going to be using, and I finally decided, as you can see on my tag here, I finally decided on a name. So I'm going to be signing up for Bandcamp and DistroKid. And so I'm going to be using TikTok, maybe Instagram, but absolutely TikTok, YouTube, Substack, primarily TikTok to drive younger viewers, younger TikTok users to either stream or buy my tracks. So I probably won't even be on LinkedIn at all for that content. Unless it's I don't know. I mean, unless it's maybe releasing an album or something. But I just don't see using, to your point, I don't see trying to do multi. I'm not going to experiment with multi-lane stuff on 360 Brew. So from that content strictly, I probably won't be on LinkedIn at all, unless maybe it would be to like be a guest on someone else's podcast and pitch that. Now, Bespoke Musica is a little bit different because I'm already doing and have done intros and outros for people's shows. So that's going to be a separate lane. But then to your point, how do I'm unclear as to whether I could even do sort of multi-lane
You can't.
on
There's
LinkedIn.
no dispute. You can't do it. You have to have one lane, one job. Now,
Well,
this
okay. Let's say that's true for now. So then, to be honest, I'm really having to make a decision as to whether I'm going to actually stay in cybersecurity or not, as well. So I may be pivoting completely out of cybersecurity, but it's not on the table yet. So that would mean that because a lot of my content and I'm very well known on cybersecurity on LinkedIn, that I would have to stay on LinkedIn for my cybersecurity. Now, well, at least for now. I'm already starting though to move, or maybe not even move, but generate new content on Substack for cybersecurity as well. So I guess the bottom line is I I'm not putting any of all of my eggs in one basket anymore, and most likely I'm going to be really concentrating on other platforms besides LinkedIn for trying to meet 360 Brew. Now, the other question, and I keep on asking people this, is what are you using LinkedIn for? If you're using it for networking, and my understanding in today's market is if you're looking for a job, then you need to be networking. You're going to network your way typically. Application, at least in the States, is kind of a non-starter, particularly the higher you go. If you're just starting out, and you want to go to a base job, then maybe you can find something by application, particularly like minimum wage jobs and that sort of thing. But if you're looking for sort of white collar and executive level jobs, the way you're getting those, the way you're landing those, is through the network.
Yeah. Well, you and I are both very challenged by the stay in your lane phrase. Stay in. I mean, right away, I'm up against the wall saying, "What? Why? Why? I'm a multidimensional being. Why do you want me to do one thing?" But what you could do on LinkedIn is do that one thing on LinkedIn and just use that for that. But something like Substack or Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or Rumble, this could be different parts of your character. But clearly, you wouldn't be doing a show about music on LinkedIn Live if you were trying to be a cybersecurity expert. You just wouldn't send the file there, would you?
No, and I want to return to the repurpose idea too, because there's not a concept. And again, I'm not bashing LinkedIn at all. It is what it is, and you use it as it is. But um, I cannot really repurpose directly from LinkedIn, meaning I can't push anything out of LinkedIn to Substack or Instagram or anywhere else. So as far as repurposing, now I can go the other way. I can broadcast into using Restream into a LinkedIn Live. But and then if I send it to other places like Substack, maybe I can even chop it up, or I can chop it up later and reuse it. But from a reuse standpoint, directly, I can't do that in LinkedIn, and that's another reason, Keith. Like for my music stuff, I'm going to want to repurpose that. I want to get the biggest bang for my buck with the least amount of work.
That's right. I mean, it
And
just makes sense, doesn't it? The idea of
yeah,
having one place where you can talk about one thing. Like, I'm going to say this, we're a couple of minutes in. I hope I don't get suspended, but I feel LinkedIn has been taken over by someone else. Like, this is what I feel. I walked into my favorite restaurant and it's got a new owner with a new menu, and there's no entrees and there's no desserts. And there's a very limited choice for vegetarians. And I'm thinking, I've been coming to this restaurant every week for 5 years. And I love this restaurant. I can walk here, it's up the road. I love it. And now you're telling me you've changed the menu and there's nothing for me to eat. No, not nothing, one thing. So I feel, as a very creative person, someone who does a lot of different things, that I'm being sort of segmented. Like, it's okay, Keith, but don't use your left arm and don't kick with your left foot. And please, please, please don't look out of your left eye. You can look out of your right eye, you can use your right arm, and as long as you kick with your right foot, you're allowed in. I feel like it feels very restrictive to me as a creative person. But
it's a bit worse than that, though, Keith. Um, there's an algorithm, artificial. I'm not going to say it's intelligence, but there's an algorithm that is deciding what is appropriate. So it's not just that you're stuck to a lane. It's going to decide, like if Keith and Mike are talking, or Keith and Americo, which we did, are talking about cybersecurity. He already raised an issue where that's not his lane. So wait a minute. So I lose out because I was on a show of his that no, well, or he loses out, or I don't know. We both lose out. I don't know. And that's the other thing, is we don't know. So I was on his show. His lane is the whole uh you know uh live for your business, and mine is cybersecurity. So what happens in the case where he's not in his lane and I'm not in his lane? So I don't know. But, who sees that show now? Now that happened which is also confusing, Keith, because back in the day, my understanding was there was a ton of different algorithms. Time of day made a difference. Who you were connected to. Now that absolutely makes a difference. That's absolutely factored in. But to your point, it's more about, are you an expert? What they're trying to do, my understanding is, they're trying to develop this concept of experts, and then you will see, which makes no sense to me, because I don't want to tell people that I'm already an expert in. I want to tell other people that don't know anything about cybersecurity that I'm an expert, so you can hire me, like
yeah,
in a business. So,
I think the key is we probably just have to accept what LinkedIn's doing
yeah,
and use it for what it is. Now, Grace
yep,
has come on. This is very, very cool. So rather than, and this is what I'm saying, I do feel like I've gone to my favorite restaurant and they've decided that they're not selling entrees and they're not selling desserts, and you can only have one main meal from the menu, and you have to eat it with your right hand, and you have to pay with a Visa card from your right hand in your wallet. Right? I feel like there's rules. Now, as a creative person, this really makes me angry. But if I say, well, look, I do like that restaurant, and my friends are still working there, when I go to that restaurant, I know the food I can get, and now I know. If I feel like a pizza and they don't sell pizza, I won't go there. I'll go to another restaurant for pizza, but I'll go there. So I think we now have to work out what we can do on LinkedIn and do that. And it completely stuffs up my brain. Like it's wrong. It's just absolutely wrong. But if that's what it is, it's their business. It's their model. If we want to keep using it, we just have to play their game or not. You don't have
But
to use
but
LinkedIn.
but Keith, I think I'm sorry, but I think they were already doing that. They just made it a little more formal. In other words, they're saying now we've collapsed all of these various algos that we had before that may or may not have actually tried to be going towards the same place. Now we're saying no, we're trying to get experts in whatever areas
Yeah, but
to
don't,
talk to
but
each other.
my point is that we now that this is the case,
Right.
rather than you and I whinging about it,
No,
let's
that's fair.
just accept LinkedIn for what it is now and complain maybe that we've lost something. We've lost something. You know, we're mourning the loss of the old LinkedIn, which worked for us, and now the new LinkedIn doesn't work for us. So we're right at that point of deciding: do we go to this cafe when they don't sell the food that I like because it's close to my house and I've been going there for 5 years and my friends work there, or do I go to a new cafe? And I think
Mm.
that's a very good analogy. America, do you want to jump in on this? And I'll get Grace to put a photo on so we can feature her as well. What do you think? I know you're a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more willing to understand the new LinkedIn. For me, it's a terrible idea. Like I'm very unhappy, but you seem to be a little bit more forgiving. Give us a
So
bit of an antidote, a bit of a sort of a different viewpoint.
so while both of you were talking, I ran a prompt on Copilot, and the response to the question: LinkedIn's native features currently do not include a built-in AI that actively reads audio from live streams. So, taking that information, I would say that it is incumbent upon us to really focus on our show's descriptions, our show's commentary, and make sure that it aligns with our headlines and our about section. So I can bring Mike in as the cybersecurity professional and host a show around cybersecurity or that subject matter, but I have to link it back to how I drive value as a business whose primary focus is to help others go live with ease so that they can gain visibility, engagement, and conversions.
Yeah. You seem very willing to play the new rules. This is quite. I'm quite proud of you for this. I'm quite proud of you because I am so angry that I'm actually having trouble. I'm having trouble adjusting. Like I'm really angry, and so much so that I've already written a breakup song, and I've been restricted 5 times in November, and I'm trying my guts out to comply. Like I'm really trying to comply. But I
I
can't
mean,
shut up. I can't
from a
shut up. That's
support
my problem.
perspective, though, Keith, and this is what's concerning me. So, according whether we trust Microsoft uh, um, or not, with their LLM, uh, the the question is, okay, so what what America said was, okay, so they're not dipping into the audio. Then we've had a couple instances where we think that we had bad language or whatever. So I'm not clear as to how that happened. Are they dipping in like uh you know um randomly? and
That's a good point.
well, and the other thing I have to say is that Keith's problem, my problem with Keith's issue is actually bigger because it doesn't seem like he's getting a good explanation of what he's doing wrong. And I have a real problem with that because if I'm going to play by your rules, I have to understand what rule I tripped over for you to put me in timeout. And I'm not real happy, to be honest with you, from a platform user perspective. Yes, I want to support Keith too, but I'm not really happy because then I'm like, well, what's to stop me tripping over? Well, because we don't know what it is, and getting banned. And I'm on the platform every day, Americo, and I'm pretty active on the groups that I'm and the shows that I'm on, and being off for what was it, 5 days, Keith?
7 days. 7 days.
7 days for me would be almost an eternity.
Well, it was.
W-
That was
w-
see the thing that was really interesting. Hello, Grace. I'll bring you in a minute. Friday night, 6 p.m. Wife is cooking tea. I thought I'll just check my messages. Banned. Friday night. Can't get LinkedIn back for a whole week till next Friday night. Banned until 6 p.m. Now, which effectively means 10 days because I'm not working weekends. So I couldn't really effectively use LinkedIn until the Monday. So I effectively lost 10 days of marketing value. And I still don't know what I did wrong. Right? I'm guessing what I did wrong. I'm having to guess because the descriptions are very, 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 very bad. Right? And there's no one there that even knows what I did wrong. Like, and I want to know. I don't want to do this again. What did I do wrong? So I'm dancing on a landmine now. Okay, am I sending too many DMs? Am I connecting with too many people? Am I inviting too many people to my show? What is it? What am I doing? Tell me. Tell me what to stop doing and I'll do it. I will be obedient. I worked out that I like LinkedIn and I'm prepared to be obedient. And that's what I'm going to use that word, obedient. You're telling me what to do and I'm doing it. If you tell me what to do, I will do it. But I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I don't know how to stop doing it. What I have done is I've just said I'm willing to be obedient. I'm using the word obedient for all that means. And I know some people, my friends, are saying, mate, there's just no way I'm being told what to do. Just leave. Right. And if I get banned today, now you know why. But, I want to comply. So I've got my account back and I feel like I can do it, but I can't have dessert. Right? And as a creative person, I'm more angry than I can verbalize. Like, I'm so angry. But LinkedIn is the boss, and you just play the game or piss off, right? I'm still in the play the game phase. I might be in the piss off phase one day, but I'm not yet. And I'm really angry. Why should I have all this trouble? I'm just a person in Melbourne, Australia, talking to my friends. But let's mix it up a bit. What do you think, Grace? What do you think of the new algorithm? Are you getting some contradictory advice about it? Have you heard people getting banned? Do you see much about it, and do you know what much about it? Can you shed some light on it for us?
Hi, Keith. It is good to be with you guys here. I am really here to learn because I need some enlightenment because I was really confused about LinkedIn. I wasn't sure what was happening with LinkedIn. And it's been like, Keith, you and I have talked in the past so many times about this. Um, it's just been like a, up and down with LinkedIn. And I loved your analogy about the restaurant. I think that you're really up to something with that one. I really think you kind of almost spot on there. But I do believe. Um, mhm. Sorry, am I interrupting somebody?
No, no, no. You're right. We got you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think um, I know many people are getting a lot of issues, and even people that I'm talking to are confused as to where and how and why. Um, Especially when it comes down to really controlling your postings and how many people really are having access to them. how many people you get to see. I don't see all of your stuff, Keith, anymore like I used to. A lot of the people, and in fact, I am part of certain pages that I even have control over. And when we post on these other pages, I still don't have access. I mean, visibility. I have access, but I don't have visibility to the posts, which I find very, 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 very awkward. So yeah, and I actually recently took I stopped paying for my Prime, so I took it out. I took it out. I just am on regular now, trying to see what the difference is, and I think they're retaliating about that too a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about all that?
I think it's fascinating that you're an admin for several pages and you don't have visibility. This is one of the things I'm noticing, that no one's seeing my stuff anymore and no one's coming to my shows anymore because they don't know they're on. How
Yep.
can they know? They don't see them, right? Now that's okay because I don't pay for LinkedIn, and that is one of the scenarios that people are saying. Look, Keith, if you're not paying for LinkedIn, just shut up. You've got no reason to complain. If you're not paying for it, just stop whinging. All right, no worries. I get it. I accept that definition. I haven't paid for it. I won't pay for it. It's $60 Australian. I don't think it's worth it. And so maybe I'm not their target market and maybe I deserve to be banned. I don't know.
And
But
that's yeah, I think you got a good point there. I don't, that's kind of what you have to weigh when you are trying to look at things like, is it worth it or not? I used to use it quite a bit for job postings and so forth, right? And also sourcing for candidates. Um, Really the same thing. But my point is that I think certain tool may be working better than others. And I guess it's kind of like to figure out which tools are those and how is it really affecting you, whether you're paying for it or not. You see what I'm saying? I don't think I had better luck necessarily with with my paid version on certain features. Does that make sense?
no, of course it's important. Like, I mean, if you're paying whatever it is and you're not getting any benefit, it's part of a very, very sensible business plan to say, okay, well, where do I best spend my money and time? Like one of the things that we're talking about today, we're doing a lot of work on LinkedIn because it's troublesome for a lot of people. But the basic idea, the basic question we're actually asking is, what is your best content and where is it? And can you put, this is the actual question we're asking. Where is your best content and what is it? And where can you put it in addition so you can get extra reach? Like we are constantly sending our stuff to YouTube and Substack and Facebook and TikTok and all these others. What's working? And have you asked this question yourself, Grace? Do you use anything other than LinkedIn? And do you do any other formats? I'd love to know what type of content you create and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're asking that because recently we talked about one of the tools, which is Substack, right? You and I, which I kind of signed up to that. But I have been very heavily present on LinkedIn more than anything else. So I'm expanding now because LinkedIn has really failed me, I feel like, in so many different ways. But again, my audience, for the most part, is on LinkedIn. Somebody else mentioned that earlier when it comes onto the hiring process, but also for leadership and executive versus blue collar roles, right? So I'm very much on the white collar aspect of, audience, if you will. Um, so LinkedIn is still the space for it, I feel like. I don't think the other spaces are quite um, for what I need it to be. So other than the
No, look,
physical
that's a
in
very
person.
important understanding because, and I'll throw to America. This is a very key point about LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants you to do one thing. It wants you to do one, maybe two things really well. It doesn't want you to talk about music and cybersecurity and home cooking and Star Trek and metal and veganism. It wants you to talk about recruitment and maybe one other thing. Now that might suit you because you do a lot of work in recruitment, but don't talk about cooking vegetarian food or travel or going to see your mum, or going to travel overseas. Don't talk about these things because that LinkedIn does not want you to diversify. I'm saying it as it is. I'm just saying it for the ridiculous way it sounds. It wants you to do one thing really well and it will reward you for that. So maybe if you're doing recruitment really, really, really well, it will reward you if you can do it. And that's the point. Could you do just recruitment, or do you like to talk about a few different things?
I think for me, I'm in the process of actually like pivoting as well. I recently founded TTWT, which is Table Talk with
Tell
Trailblazers.
us about that.
Yeah, so it was born out of that because supporting leaders has been always part my my main gig, if you will. Like, I'm saying? It was leaders who were hiring, and I was supporting them from that perspective. Now I'm supporting leaders finding solutions through different ways, which is sitting on a table with other leaders that have potentially also the solutions, and through becoming each other's masterminds and having that collaborative conversation at a very intimate and exclusive and a discreet location and so on. But my alone this whole pivoting situation is very tricky with LinkedIn because it still pushes you to do what you used to do and doesn't I don't think it is very friendly to pivoting to
I
your
think,
point,
I
Keith.
think you're right. I think this is the trouble I'm having. It's
Mhm.
not a very human platform. Like, no one does one thing. No one. No one. I mean, unless you've done the same job for 50 years, in which case I don't want to know you. You know, uh, no one does one thing. We are multidimensional creatures. We have a few passions, some graduated scales. You know, Star Trek has nothing to do with veganism, and metal has nothing to do with live streaming. Nothing. So there's four things I can talk about for days and days and days, right? But they're not related to each other, right? And but I'm just one person, and I'm guessing most people are like that. What are you pivoting into, Grace? And is it related to what you did, or is it totally different?
Yeah, so it is different in a sense, but at the same time, my audience is the same. My audience are still the leaders that
Yeah,
I used to
yeah.
recruit for. Now, those leaders are. I'm creating a table for those specific leaders now, right? I'm creating a table for leaders to sit on the table with, also subject matter experts that are at the table, cybersecurity, AI. I'm about to bring in somebody from the marketing space, but also executive coaching leader, coach leader, coaching person, if you will. So those are people that are at the table already, in addition to whatever other folks will come to the table. And then there is this conversation about all kind of different things, right? That they share at a table that is um, discreet, right? So they don't have to. It's free of solicitation. It's intimate. It's small. It's not a huge convention or whatever. You know what I mean? And around that, we are actually building a club atmosphere right now as well, where they, you know,
I love this, and it's a very natural evolution of your character. Yeah.
I thought so because my audience is still the same, right? Like the people that I am and trying to cater to and support and trying to create this table for are still leaders, right? Executive leaders, small business leaders, and we are creating a table for them. And they get to talk about some of the challenges. Most recently, we had somebody actually speaking of a cybersecurity challenge that they have. And we, of course, also had the cybersecurity experts on the table, but they are not there to solicit or sell them, and they never did, right? But what they did do is explore that conversation and gave them even more to think about. So that person walked away with knowledge and experience and exposure to potential situations, background, and knowledge. By the way, the person was a tech person themselves, but they were from a different tech space, right? And part owner of their own organization. So they have. My point is, it creates, it's just another solution for leaders, another way
Yeah.
of, in today's environment where everything is so new and everything is kind of like challenging. No, well, not everything is challenging, but there's a lot of challenging things out there and a lot of confusion. And also, um, this was actually born out of a step that was made, you know, within the AI space by a couple of different organization that was in the news, right? Where organization have moved on with certain situations. Let's say one of the companies actually ended up letting go a lot of employees to just turn around, bring back some of those employees because, or hire new ones because the AI rollout the way they expected it did not come through, right? So, what if you could learn from that challenge? What if another organization has similar, maybe not to that
Yeah.
scale, but similar situation? You could be on that table, that person, have those conversations and learn from each other. Very much what you are doing here, Keith. It's not, it's just a little bit more discreet, and it's
And more like I love what you're doing because it's in person. Yeah, you have to attend it, and it's in a nice room, and you get a nice dinner, and you dress up, and it's a bit of a chance to smooth. It's good. Like it's a great idea. Why should you be penalised for that? And Americo, pick up on this. This is good because I'd love you to interview Grace on your show. Why should someone who's pivoting be penalised, neutralised by just having a different angle to their personality? What do you think we can do for someone who has two or three parts of their personality? Do they go somewhere else, or do they start a new profile? How do we manage this algorithm now?
Well, the option is to complete a complete makeover, and you're going to pivot, or succumb to the reality that LinkedIn is what it is, and you conform and you adapt and you adopt to it. But I think the real answer is diversify and spread yourself. For the longest times we've been talking about showing up where our community is. So if our community is no longer showing up at LinkedIn in the quantity that they have in the past, it's time for us to either add or supplement different social channels to meet the needs of those that we want to reach out to. Now, while Grace was talking, and I started to think, I'm starting to analyze here as to what's transpiring. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it's the decisions that the platform has made. But I'm starting to realize that LinkedIn is removing versatility. No longer wants us to be versatile. Stick to one thing, be good at that one thing, and we'll reward you. Which kind of contradicts what I guess the entire working landscape has been championing. You know, organizations have been focusing on building culture, embracing people for being different, welcoming people for their diversity.
Oh man, you just
And now all of a sudden it's no longer part of our vocabulary in this landscape. So versatility is being removed. I'm also recognizing, keep me honest and see if you've experienced the same thing over the last couple of weeks. LinkedIn is the AI is swift and quick to pull the plug or just push you aside with any reference that is self-promoting. They want you to be the expert, but the minute you say, "Hey, reach out," you get zero reach, zero visibility, unless you pay for that visibility.
Now, America, when you say reach out, what Or are you actually
I'm just talking about different calls to action. Write them as you want. The algorithm is picking up any form of call to action. It is, I guess, I wouldn't say blocking, but limiting to extremely limiting your reach and visibility. I put out a post. I kind of gone on this Black Friday bandwagon, and I put out a post on some pop-up shows, and I got zero traction. Now, prior to when I hit post, I got a pop-up prompting, "Hey, this would be a great post to promote. Are you interested?" No, I do not want to pay $70 to get this post the visibility that I think it could use. I want to keep it organic, and I got zero response. Now, I kind of expected that, but take it one step further. Move and put aside anything that is business related. We also heard for the longest time, you got to bring your personal self. Be authentic. Personalization is key. For the first time in the history of my LinkedIn membership, this is the first year I recall not seeing any posts after a national holiday. The U.S. celebrated Thanksgiving this weekend, and I didn't see a single post that said Happy Thanksgiving.
Whoa,
Oh
didn't
my
you? You
God.
didn't. Whoa.
I
Because
did.
That.
I
Yeah.
did. But this is where it gets tricky, and I'm tired of chasing. To Grace's point, I'm tired of chasing the algorithm. What I noticed was the only ones I got Thanksgiving information from was my direct connections, my first level. Well, I don't know if it was just first level, but for my connections. I did not get, that I remember anyway, Thanksgiving notes from what I would consider, the default feed. And one of the things I'm still digging into this, all of you, I'm, but I'm not convinced. So when this falls under an LLM, and I had mentioned this briefly to Keith about AEO, which is basically framing your content to be consumed by LLMs, and it's different than how you would do it otherwise. One of the differences is you want to cluster your posts, meaning that you want your posts all about the same thing, whatever that is. So there's we're gonna have to change if we want to conform to 360 Brew. We're gonna have to understand, number one, what that needs to look like and perform it. Even, and this is where I'm disagreeing a little bit with maybe Keith, is that I'm not clear if you can multi-track this. But like I said, because it's a black box, it's very hard to figure out what that content would have to look like for multi-tracking. So most of us are going to say, screw it, we'll just single track. And then it's your profile, it's your posts, it's your comments, it's your connections. I'm connected to Keith. Keith isn't into cyber. That may or may not be an obstacle. And that's what's not clear to me is, and it would be really nice to get some of this information and explanation from
Maybe what we should
LinkedIn.
do, we don't know any, maybe this, but we need to probably have a really good conversation with someone like Kevin Turner
Mm,
in Dallas, or someone that is deeply embedded in LinkedIn, as an employee of LinkedIn, or someone who's a coach of LinkedIn. And we all know plenty of coaches who profess to know a lot about LinkedIn and love it. And so we could probably do some shows and just quiz them and say, look, have you worked it out? Like, I mean, we're floundering in the dark. We want to be a good citizen. We want to do the right thing. What do we do? Right? I mean, we're being penalized for being ourselves. And I feel like I'm being penalized by being myself. I'm just being myself. I'm a nice person. I want to be a nice person. I want to comply. I'm not being deliberately adversarial. I just feel like I'm being penalized for doing what I've always done. And I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling this. I haven't
Well,
met anyone that's been restricted as much as me, but I know that quite a few people are frustrated by it. And I'm going to
there's
be.
another thing though, Keith, that I wanted to follow up with what America was saying. I don't know if you've noticed this, but comments one comment deep will get views. After that, so and one of my problems is I want to do, because of the limitation on length of comments, I do follow on comments. They are severely throttled.
Oh,
So
is there
so
a
if
limit on comments? Is there a limit on the length of comments?
yeah, I forget what the number is, but it's there's a limit, and maybe I'm too verbose.
Only you would be subject to that.
Thank you.
Have
My
you
son, my son's got a little one.
have you ever left a message and had the answer and say sorry, Keith, you've run out of time? Have you ever had that problem? I have that
I,
problem with talking. You have that problem with writing.
well, anyway, I did notice that though, which again to me is forcing. First of all, when you're looking at LLM, the way LLMs basically work, if you to super simplify this, they are very, very clever autocompletes. Well, what does that mean? That means that for better or worse, we're kind of going to the lowest common denominator. So even within my expertise, if I hold a counter view, like I don't know, of pretty much anything in cyber, then I'm not going to get the reach, because the LLM is going to look at the pattern that closest matches its what it believes the answer is. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it will give you an answer and can be very emphatic about the answer that it gives you, and can be completely wrong. So all I'm saying is, and again, I mean, to your point, we kind of have to accept it. But then my thing is, well, then I'm just going to pivot into other platforms, particularly like I said with the music, because I want to drive eyeballs to my streaming and my track sales. I don't think that's at all appropriate on LinkedIn. I could be wrong. The other thing that you may or may not know is LinkedIn does not like it when you go off platform.
Mm.
So if, like, let's have a website, Keith, and I want to drive, I want to drive clients to my website. LinkedIn really doesn't like that. They want, I guess, they want you to. I don't know how you would, how you'd have calls. Oh, I don't know if you guys noticed, guys and gals, they deleted the video conference.
Yeah, they did.
The one-on-one video conference. I'm like, that was who's making these types of decisions? Where, I mean, I thought this was a networking platform. Now, and you just removed a huge in my. Oh, so now I have to type back and forth, and
Tell me
then
what I've never used it. What was this platform you're talking about?
LinkedIn. You had the capability of doing a one-on-one video call
Inside a DM.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
Wow, I've never used that feature.
Well, that's because I don't have it anymore. And they just delete. They kind of delete stuff willy nilly, and they don't really tell that I know. And you can follow Kevin and folks like Kevin Turner that track this stuff. He has
Mhm.
something called LinkedIn Stuff in the Wild, and that's all good. And he told me, like, I asked, I don't know if you saw my post about this thing where on a regular post, and I never remember changing this or ever having to change it, that you can choose when you're posting who your audience is. It can be everyone,
Mm, mm,
which
mm.
I don't know why you wouldn't put everyone. It can be connections only, or it can be group. And that was one thing I wanted to ask you, Grace, is does everyone know that? Because what it does when you change it, then that becomes the default until you change the next one. Well, I don't ever remember changing it to connection only. Why would I want to artificially limit my exposure on a post or an article. And
Thank you so much for bringing up. Sorry, go ahead.
no, just to pay attention because Kevin said, just pay attention because that may change. I'm like, whoa, who's telling us any of this? Like, all of a sudden, I can have my reach completely artificially because I'm not like Keith, and I don't know how many America has, but I only have like 2,500 connections. So why would I want to artificially limit where this can, and the can is the operative word, and I have no idea how, okay, so what reach is this getting? And you can see your hits and everything, but I'm like, I have no idea how that got there. Like, is it coming? Because now I'm posting from Substack, and I link back into LinkedIn from Substack, which LinkedIn probably doesn't like either. I did want to ask you though, for any of the panel here, if I start to multi-platform, how do I track? Is there a tool that you guys are aware of that I can track all of the kind of the hits on that content?
What about Google Analytics?
Yeah, so if you set up a Google Business profile, you'll be able to pick it up on Google Analytics. Surprisingly, Substack, if you make Substack your hub for your content strategy,
It does, doesn't it? It gives
and
you
you
really good
and you
stuff.
hyperlink and backlink to different platforms, you can you can see where people are linking to and from what websites or what platforms they're linking from.
Well, that's inbound, right? So you can tell where people are hitting your stuff
Yes.
from. Yeah, but most of the time, it's at least a lot of mine is direct. I'm like, well, so what? Substack? I, I don't know.
Well, let's have this discussion. This is a very good discussion. We can get off the LinkedIn bashing. We can't help it. We always go back to LinkedIn bashing. And let's stop. I mean, let's stop LinkedIn bashing. I'm
Yes.
just telling LinkedIn I'm not bashing. Please don't restrict me because I'm allowing this conversation. I'm just let you know I'm changing it. Please don't hurt me, Mister. Please, sir. So, I want to really pick up on the value proposition of Substack. So, Substack has stats on a level I've never seen before, maybe with the exception of Google Analytics. So, on my phone, I can just type my stats, and it gives me the 30-day viewpoint and the amount of subscribers I've had, and it also tells me my revenue if I turn my monetization on, and it gives me this very lovely graph. I've had 6,000 views in 30 days from my 78 subscribers. That gives me a very generic idea of how I'm going. And I'm pretty happy with that. 200 views a day on my content. And there's another one that inside the PC, I can get a really lovely graph, which shows that on show days, there's a big spike of 300 views a day on show day, which would be today. So, and I've had 4 subscribers since this time, which was last Wednesday. So, Substack gives you stats beyond belief. It's a very, very, very good hub to put your content on. But I'll throw to you, Americo, because you led with this. Tell me how you would do that.
So I'm looking at Substack now, and if you go to your growth sources, it'll break it down. So it's safe to say that your leading source should be direct from the app or direct from the desktop. But then you're able to see how many people came in through a link that you shared on LinkedIn, a link that I shared on an email campaign, Facebook. So I do some posting on nextdoor.com for small businesses and Google. And it's just fascinating for zero cost what you get, and you get a good understanding as to where to invest your time,
your effort.
right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, LinkedIn, it's a small sample. Listen, I don't have that that many publications. I'm still hovering around. Let's go back. I think it was 2,600 views on a rolling 30 days. But 48% of my content is direct in the app. 27% is is direct from a link in the app. And then when you look outside of Substack, outside of the Substack ecosystem, it drops dramatically. LinkedIn at 2%. So 2% of my traffic, mind you, I've only started to embed links on my LinkedIn articles and newsletter. And we know, yes, LinkedIn is not a huge advocate of sending people outside of their ecosystem.
Substack doesn't mind. You're not getting
But
penalized.
Substack doesn't mind. Substack, it almost seems like they encourage, they
Yeah.
want you to bring audience members back to Substack, and they're perfectly fine sharing that love across different platforms.
Well, let's have this discussion. Can we repurpose our content using Substack, just in case you've never used it? What's the idea here? If you've decided that live streaming is your thing, you can live stream on Substack. If you want to have videos, you can have videos here. If you like writing, you can post here. Like, it is a one-stop shop. Now, I'm as excited about Substack as I am as angry as I am with LinkedIn. This is my solution, my savior. This is my thing, because it's come at exactly the right time. I've been looking for something and I found it. I think we can actually do quite a lot with this. And you lead on this, Americo. What sort of content are you putting on Substack, and how's it going?
So from a content distribution, I am streaming live. I'm using notes to now promote and create visibility for upcoming events. But most importantly, after the event has gone live, I will repurpose that event and create a blog summarizing what took place with the key takeaways, key learnings for those who prefer to read what transpired. Like, my shows don't go as long as yours, but still an hour for some is still a stretch to listen into. And it's really about.
You've had some. Let's just pick up on this and give Americo his flowers. You know, you did this really fantastic show about the difference between going to the effort of doing a real podcast or cheating and creating it with AI. Right? Fantastic show. Went 1 hour.
Yes.
It was a great show, but not everyone has that hour to be there. But you've got a couple of choices there. You can list the replay in a pure form. You can chop it up. You can create an audio snippet of it. You can create a written highlights reel. What did you do? I'd be very fascinated, because that was a good show, one of your best.
Yeah. So I did take the transcript and chopped it up into, or created a blog, created shorts to redistribute across different channels, YouTube, nextdoor.com, and Instagram, to bring people back to the on-demand show and listen in. But the writing, the transcript's available in its raw form automatically on Substack, which is also great for people who just want to read the conversation. So let me tell you, just moments ago I talked about how one platform is, or seemingly appears to be, removing versatility. Here we have an entire 180-degree swing where another platform is doing the absolute opposite. It is adding and becoming more versatile. Now, I wasn't around when Substack launched in 2017, but my understanding is it was designed, it was purpose-built for writers and those who consume written content. it has now come, full steam ahead through transformation and their evolution. Today, they are more versatile than perhaps any other platform that I use.
Yeah, they're not so fussed about keeping you on the platform. They want you to
No.
succeed. And let's be very clear about how Substack does that. Substack is free to use, and they charge you 10% of whatever you make, if you make anything. So one thing that's very, very powerful about Substack is it has 50 million users, and 5 million of them are getting paid 10%. Very encouraging numbers. Substack makes its money by encouraging you to make money and taking 10%, which means you get 90% of what you make. 90%. And you simply pay Substack 10% for the convenience of using their platform rather than having to build your own website, which costs thousands of dollars. And it's very, very difficult to do. So I can't speak about it highly enough. And so, of course, they don't mind where you put the content because you're bringing them back there
That's
and you're
right.
cashing in there. That's where your subscribers are. They don't care that you're on YouTube and LinkedIn and TikTok because they're not paying you much money. You're going to come, but you're going to bring them back to Substack to set up your little subscriptions, which can be as little as $5 a month, but it adds up. And 5 million of those 50 million users are getting paid something every month. It's very encouraging. Very encouraging. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the question now becomes, and I know it's a low percentage, but if you play the percentages, what is it, 2 to 5% of subscribers become paid members?
No, we're now saying it could be as much as 10%.
Oh,
5 million of the 50 million have paid members. 50 million subscribers, 50 million users, 5 million of them have paid members. 10%. It's a very encouraging number. Very cool.
so my biggest obstacle, and I kind of blame myself for this because I'm doing it purposefully. I want to grow organically and try to minimize becoming spammy. I'm I'm being very, and I use the term surgical, and I'll use it here again, being very surgical as to who I want to and how I want to invite members of different platforms to come over.
Mm.
Because there's 10,000 plus on LinkedIn, and there's, a few hundred on Instagram. But if I go to each of my platforms and say, hey, come meet me and follow me on Substack, it's like, well, what are you doing differently on Substack that I'm not already seeing on LinkedIn? So it becomes very, very awkward for someone to follow you on multiple platforms. They're doing it because, they just want to show their support. But are they really driving value? Probably not. I think we can be honest with each other. If I brought 10,000 people from LinkedIn over to Substack, what value or what difference am I bringing?
I love this discussion. I'll give you a couple of ideas. One is my shows are live on Substack. They're live. And if you want to go to my shows on the day, at the time, they're completely free because they're live and I put them there. But in spite of the fact that I do not play the replay on Substack. I'm very proud of this. I'm going to play this out. So you cannot watch the replay of my show on Substack. So if you want the replay, you have to go somewhere else. That somewhere else is YouTube. So I'm setting my YouTube channel up for people who want replays of my show. That's the only thing it does now. That's it. That's all it is. If you want replays of my shows, go to YouTube because that's the only place they're going to be. Because it's easy to do and I've got a cool, funky playlist and it's all very sequential and I'm getting like 10 views. But the point is that that's where my views are. That's the only place they are. I'm even deleting my LinkedIn one after it finishes. I'll let it go for a day or two and then I delete it. So I'm segmenting the value. Everything is free if you can come on the day because it goes everywhere. But then the next day, I sort of channel it all together and I delete LinkedIn and I don't save the Substack file and I put everything into YouTube. So I am definitely segmenting it from the point of view of the viewer says, well, why should I go to YouTube? Well, you go to YouTube for the replay. That's it. That's all you're doing. If you want the replay, go to YouTube. If you're live, you can go anywhere you want, but you've got to be here now. As soon as I push stop, it all goes away.
It's fascinating because that's one thing I do currently. And I noticed, as you pointed out, that you don't have your replays on Substack. And I'm not tech savvy enough to answer this question or to wrap my head around it. But I wonder if, because I include the full hour of replay and embedded on my my blog, if whether or not my posts are being throttled because people want quick and snappy 2 to 3 minute reads and they don't want that 1 hour video.
Yeah. Look, it'd be very easy to do. Like you could, and this is Mike to pick up on your thinking. Let's do this combination. Put the video on a post and make the post the video. That's it. Then do a post about the content of the video and see which one goes better. They're both the same. One's written, one's video. Which one goes better? It's exactly the question I'm asking. So I've decided that I do posts on Substack and I do a live show at the time if you're here. But you can't watch my replays on Substack. I've decided. Maybe I'm a mongrel, but it's not hard to do, but they just don't go very well and it clogs up the feed. When I do a post, they just go off. They're just going off. It's just bloody brilliant. I mean, so it's a matter of segmenting my time and my energy. And I'm a bit of a show off. I want people to watch me. I want people to see me. I don't want to just put it there and have it sit there. So you could try this, Americo. Just say no when they ask you, do you want to post it? Just say no. And it just goes away. Because you've got it somewhere else. You've probably got it on YouTube or you've got a secondary one. Just send them there. And I've got into a bit of a rhythm with posting. As I said, I'm getting about 200 views a day. So I've got a bit of a rhythm. We can do this experiment directly if you want, Americo. Next time you do a show, post the video with no text and then post the text with no video and see which one goes better. What do you think? Well, it'd be a lovely idea.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a test. Love my testing.
Do you do any posts, Mike? Well, how do you? I know you've got about 4 accounts. How do you use Substack? You want to give us the squirrel eyes view of what you use with Substack for?
Okay, I think it's now 5 publications. I'm active on 3, very active on 3. And so, and to be honest, I think I kind of got a little too excited and went spread out a little too quickly. But so I have a poetry publication, but then I got a little not confused, but I started adding, because I had made some of my poetry into songs, I added songs into my poetry section.
Ah, very cool.
So well, and actually
Bob Dylan won the Nobel Prize for Literature. So
but I actually wrote a poem. My very first Suno songs were actually poems that I turned into songs, without actually using formal stanzas and the format. Since then, actually, I've been writing them more as lyrics, but I've gone back on occasion to songs that are poems I really enjoyed. So anyway, I actually wrote an article on what the difference is in our minds, or to us emotionally, actually, between a poem and a song. And
Can you
generally,
tell me what it is? What's the difference?
well, generally, it you're leaving it up to the reader as to what the emotion is from the poem, and the visuals are also really in the reader's mind. So you're leaving a lot up to the reader. When you convert that same, I can take the same exact words and add music, and I can't explain it other than to say there's an emotional depth that immediately presents itself. I mean, that's why movies have music. That's why ads have music. Um, music is very evocative, very emotionally evocative. So that's one thing I noticed. So I have the poems. I have a cybersecurity one, which I may or may not sort of fold into something slightly different. I have bespoke musica, which is my bespoke uh, mostly for, well, it's for events and intros and outros for shows. And I've actually collated a bunch of the ones I've already done pro bono, and I've actually gotten a lot of nice feedback from the people that I did it with. And so I've posted those, including some birthday songs and stuff. So that's
And do you
kind of
know
going to
how many
be.
how many you can have? How many have you got? Is there a limit on the amount of different publications you can have?
I'm not aware of any. I guess I'll find out, Keith. But
I
I
mean,
would say you probably should self limit, and what I mean by that is you don't want to get so spread out that you can't really keep up, because I think one of the important things on Substack is consistency of posting.
yeah.
Um,
Do you
and,
just have the one America like I do?
Yes, there's one in there that I added. I think I would have added it accidentally because it's, if you go into it, it says coming soon.
Yeah.
I should take it down. Right now, it's just the one publication that I concentrate on.
Well, look, guys, put your Substack in. There's mine. Do you have a Substack yet, Grace? Do you want to pick up on this? Are we talking over you? Do you understand what we're talking about? Are you in the zone of using Substack yet?
No, but I'm learning. I'm a newbie to Substack. I just created. I used to have a dormant account, and now I created a new account. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to kind of explore the audience out there. You know what I mean? I think it's like all about who you are talking to and who's out there. I
This is
think
actually a very good discussion to have because I've noticed, and I'm starting to deliberately notice, there is a very diverse audience, or more importantly, community on Substack, and I can tell you for sure, no one's talking about getting a job. They're talking about writing, motherhood, menopause, food, travel, kittens. Um, they're talking about everything that humans do: having pets, having kids, traveling. You know, having pains in your body, based on your age, and it's a human experience. Like it's you're talking to real people about real things. It's the exact opposite to LinkedIn. So I really want to explore whether we can indeed repurpose our whole content strategy using Substack. It's very real. It's very human, and it comes from you. It's very easy to do because you're talking about yourself. You don't have to conform to some box that says, okay, you can only talk about one thing. You choose. What's the one thing you want to be known for? You know, the elevator pitch, so to speak. You know, if you were stuck in an elevator with Richard Branson and you had 14 seconds from the 17th floor to the bottom floor, what would you say? Hey, my name is Keith Keller and I'm in Melbourne. Well, I know that because I'm in Melbourne too. I'm here. What are you saying? You've done. You bingo. You lost me. So, you know, we're not talking about elevator pitches and selling your soul. We're talking about real people talking about real things. And what do you think, Mike? Am I rambling now, or do you think that's what Substack really means? The chance to tell your story.
Well, I think that's one thing that you can do, right? And like one of the things I'm thinking of is using it as you know, as far as paid, is I want to use it almost like a pitch for upcoming, for instance, upcoming tracks or albums. And so my paid subscription, and I'm assuming I would have to have a bit of a following before I do this. The other thing I need to look into is potentially, guys, selling tracks on. I'm not sure if you can do it, but I'd be interested to see if I can sell tracks on Substack. And there may or may not be a way. There's one way that I could create a publication that has the tracks and then have them pay monthly. But my question is, can I do that on a per track level? And not a subscription per track level, but I may have a way, but I have to look into that. But I guess what I'm saying is there's a potential to use, for lack of a better word, use Substack as your landing page for everything. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
Just
it's
use
not
a
just
Stripe
going,
and they take 10%. It's a
yeah.
very, very, very good site. Like I haven't been this excited since I discovered, since I started using Twitter in 2008. I haven't been this excited about a site since then. I've tried a lot of sites. It's 100%
Well,
better than Discord, much better than Blab was. It's better than a lot of sites that have come and gone. I think it's got a huge potential.
I don't want to get us in trouble, but one of my thoughts was, and I have to look into how exactly Stripe works. But what if I put a link on a Substack page? So in other words, I have a Substack page that has, I don't know, 10 tracks. And I say, if you want to buy any of these 10 tracks, click on this link. And that link takes you to a a page that you can actually buy the track from on.
I'm not sure Substack would be very happy about that. It's a bit of a cheat, isn't it? You're not paying them; they're not getting their cut.
No, well, they would still have the subscription level.
Ah,
So
that's right. Yes. Yep.
yeah.
Let me just pick up on subscriptions. For those that don't know, Substack is got a totally different model than we have come to believe. So this is very important that we have this discussion. So it's free to use Substack, but you then charge for subscriptions, right? Now, the free subscription means you can just use it as long as you like, and it'll never cost you any money if you don't want it to. And you just follow along, and you'll get an email from me, and every time I do a new post. But very, very cool. But what you can do, if you want, you can say, hey, look, this is how I sort of pay my rent or, my electricity bill. What about swinging $5 my way once a month? $8 Australian, say, if you want to, if you're digging it. Just, and you get extra. You get a few extra goodies for that. You can do it at $8 a month or $80 a year. And, for a couple extra dollars, I'll throw in a couple of coaching calls, right? So you can actually say it that way. So you are right, Mike. If you had subscriptions, your Substack is still being paid by this format, right? And you could probably fold it into this format. So one of the examples I use often, and music is a very good example of this. A friend of ours, Sherry in New Zealand, was thinking of doing a membership site actually at that time on Buy Me a Coffee. And she was thinking, okay, for $10 a month, you get one audio of one of my gigs. She just got back from Taiwan. She travels the world playing piano. For $10 a month, you get one audio of your choosing from my concerts this year. For $20 a month, you get an audio and a video, or an audio or a video. And then for $30 a month, you get an audio and a video, and every new audio and video. So I'm just guessing to make a point. So if you've got 200 songs, what you could do, for instance, with the monthly plan is for $8 a month, you can get a song a month. Just a song a month. The Song a Month Club. Right? And for the advanced plan, I'll write you a song. Just say I'm just riffing now. So $5 a month US, a song a month. You pick. I've got 200 songs. You can download one, and I'll send it to you. Or I'll $80 a year for $385, which I think works out to be $195 US. I'll write you a song. I'm just saying, rather than making everyone go elsewhere, they're already here. Why not just keep it in the family, so to speak? Why take them off platform, right? Why send them somewhere else? Maybe the deal's better for you. But can you imagine having a Song of a Month club? What do you think of that, Song of the Month club? Have I got you speechless there, Mike? You not thought of this? Maybe his mic's playing up. While I'm waiting for Mike, can you not hear me? Is my mic broken?
I could hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So, have you thought of doing a membership site yet, Americo? This could be the first level before you introduce the idea of the done for you model.
That is in the works. I'm promoting it. A paid community. I've updated my website and talk a little bit about sharing or creating a stage for people to practice.
That's right. A community, yeah, a group coaching call.
Yeah, so a group coaching call, a place where people can feel comfortable, know that they're not being judged, but being supported by like-minded community members who want to help with whatever the goal is, going live, whether it's a podcast, whether it's for public speaking. I think there's just an abundance of opportunity here. And I did drop a blog and talked about this on Substack, and it's coming out tomorrow again on LinkedIn. But that's the community I want to set. This doesn't have to be a get rich quick type of solution for me.
Of course not.
I don't want it to be exclusively self-serving. I want it to be safe. I want it to be a warm and welcoming environment where people can come, stay as long as they want. Preferably, buy an annual membership. It probably costs you the same as an hour for a consultation, let's say. But you get an hour where you get to show up, pop in to one of our shows, one of our sessions where we're talking about tech, where we're talking about, best practices and just sharing resources that we're going to collect over time. And
one of the things that's very important, a lot of people may not know this, but the most important part about learning in a group is that you have so much additional value from the people in the group. Do you want to pick up on this before you go, Grace, or do you just need to say your goodbyes? You're getting busy there?
Yeah, I have unfortunately to run, but this has been really good. I'm so glad I was able to join this conversation and learn so much from you all. Look forward to the next one. Continue inboxing me, Keith, because I don't see your posts at all.
That's right. You're not seeing them. Mm-hmm. So where is Keith today has all of the details, but I will inbox you and I'll send you a link. The video will be on YouTube when we finish. You can watch the replay there, and there's some timestamps at the top of the show so you can forward to them. But thank you very much. You've been very helpful, and you're giving us that additional perspective. And good luck with this new venture.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'm connected with all of you now on Substack as well. Look forward to staying connected.
Wow.
Fantastic.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.
You as well.
So this is a very good example here, America, of what this could look like. So this is possibly the room that I'm going to use in Go Brunch for my group coaching calls, if anyone wants that feature. So, if say for instance 4 people show up, me and 3 others, those 3 people are probably the most valuable people in the room because they all have a perspective on things that they can learn from each other. Sure, I've been doing this 20 years, so I know some things, but they're not coming really for me. They're coming for the group. If you were doing one-on-ones, that's a different story and that's a different price point. But a group coaching call could be 4 people. It could be 10 people in this room. 10 people could comfortably fit in here, and they just each get a turn because a lot of people don't want to make a fool of themselves straight out of the gate, do they?
That's right. And I compiled and went over all my notes from the conversations I had with people during 2025. And yes, they were diverse in nature. Some were authors, some were coaches, some were business owners or entrepreneurs, some were speakers. And they were somewhere I piqued their curiosity to trigger these conversations. And while their stories and their narratives were different, the underlying message that we walked away with was, I don't have the confidence just yet to step up to the mic. I need more practice, or love what you're doing. Like just today, I got a DM from someone who's connected with me, has never participated in comments in my shows, but reached out and sent me a DM saying, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Keep it up." Right, and those conversations, like I started to see some similarity. I want to do something, but I'm not ready yet, and then that's that whole imposter mindset. I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough. I can really use your support, but is this going to be expensive? So that's what the community is going to be built around, is being able to help those individuals who are on the cusp of doing something and realizing that their words alone are their only challenge and their only obstacle. And I want to be able to give a safe place where people can practice and get the encouragement they need and the advice they need so that they no longer think I'm lacking the confidence. People don't realize how ready they are. And well, I don't understand the psychology behind it. I don't have a degree to really dissect that and speak about it. But until you experience it and you start realizing it for yourself, like I did, wow, I didn't realize how easy this is. Was it choppy at first? Yes. Is it perfect today? I will be the first to say probably not. But it's better today than it was in January when I started this. And I want to be able to let people start here and realize that with the support of individuals within the community, how much fun this could be and how easy it is to step away from what we call overthinking.
Oh, it's very important. It's extremely important. And I love group coaching. This is why I do these calls. Um, what if people don't know? I did a show at 10 o'clock this morning, 4 hours ago now. No one turned up. I talked to myself for 45 minutes. I don't like it. I don't like doing it. I played songs. I had to play songs because I just had nothing to say. After 45 minutes, I just had to stop. But, and this is the thing I love doing, we said to ourselves, and Mike, this is a very good excuse for you to go if you need to, we'll just go half an hour. Let's just see how we go. And here we are, 90 minutes in. We're still going. Do you need to go, Mike? Are you still on the mic, Mike? And do you need to sort of wrap it up? It's getting pretty late there.
Actually, I just took care of what I needed to take care of, so I can spend a little more time. Yeah, I mean, I actually think what we're talking about is really interesting. Um, like one of the things I didn't mention is apparently to help visibility within Substack, if you, now I don't know if you can necessarily do this with video, but you can take an article that you've written as part of your publication and split it using um, I think you have to use an AI, an LLM to do that. But you just split, like, let's say into 4 or 5 pieces. Let's say, well, depending on how long it is. If it's a shorter one, maybe 3 pieces, and you make those notes and you space those notes out because much like, and again, I'm going to have to dig in a little bit to see if they're using an LLM, but they have to be using an algorithm. But Substack apparently likes what they call clusters. And a cluster would be, again, some notes around the same subject. So you can, in essence, we talked about repurposing or reusing, uh, repurposing our content. You can break that article up into multiple pieces into notes, because I think the one thing was that, to me, my understanding is they're still kind of using notes as a way to get visibility out in the space. So if you're, so what I almost always do is I write a note. When I write an article, I introduce the article with a note, and for some reason they consider that a restack. But anyway, um, what I've heard recommended is, again, to repurpose your articles, maybe even some older articles, Keith. So if there's a subject that maybe has resurfaced or become important again, whatever it is to then repurpose that, break it up into notes, and send those notes. But you want to space them out. So maybe, I don't know, one week, another week, and the third
Let's
the
have a
next.
chat about notes. I don't actually understand that feature very well, but apparently it's very successful. A note is like a tweet. So why would that? This is a very good discussion to have. How can you repurpose your content using Substack? Notes is a very cool feature that Substack has. How do you use notes to get the word out again? Tell us how you're doing that, Mike. I don't understand this feature.
Okay, so depending on how you're doing it, I mean, all you have to do is write another note that references your original article. Uh, and actually, when you write the article, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you write your article, um, and I have to play around with this because I'm mixing and matching medias. Like, I'll do what they call a text, but then I'll insert a song. So I don't know how that's treated in Substack land. But so what I'll do is I'll post a note right at the end. It gives you, what do you want to do? And I say I want to send it to LinkedIn, but I also want to send a note. And there's a space right there for you to create your note. Well, you can also, again, if I was creating just a note, I can link that at the bottom of the note. I can link that to, for more information, here's the article. So there is a limitation. I don't know technically what the limitation. There is a limitation for an article, and there is a limitation for a note. I don't know off the top of my head what they are, but notes are shorter than articles.
And they do work. Look, I have heard that as a strategy, using notes, little tweets, to use Twitter language is very common. Do you use notes, Americo? Have you found some success there? I'd be interested in your thoughts.
I I have read the advice that notes is the way in to increase visibility. I have tried them sporadically. One creator had shared, in terms of consistency, you gotta be disciplined and do notes for 30 days consecutively to have the algorithm understand what you're writing about and what you talk about. And a 30-day note sequence is the sweet spot. Once you've done that for 30 days, you can kind of ease up in terms of frequency. But I haven't found the time. I'll do it. I'll go for a couple of days back to back, and then there's shifting priorities that get in the way, and I don't get around to 3 consecutive days of notes. But
Very
I wouldn't
interesting.
say
Why would
I
you
wouldn't
just
say it's a hack, but people are talking about it.
why would you just not send a post if you're in the habit of posting? Why not just send a post, or is the hack to send a note about a post so you're getting a double dip?
Right.
Well, it's the double dip, but Keith, the other point is just like in a LinkedIn article, and you're forced to do this on LinkedIn. You're not forced to do this on Substack. Uh, and there's a couple things. The one is so I'm assuming you would be summarizing or teasing your article, and then you say, see, for more depth, more in-depth discussion, see below, and then below is where you click on and goes to the article.
Well, okay, that would be very easy for me to do. I'm very proud of this. I've got 67 articles that I've created in 90 days. I have no trouble creating them. I don't particularly want to write notes, but I could easily write a note about each of those posts.
But Keith, my point is right at the point where you're finishing that and you're saying save or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
There is something right there that says, write something, and it becomes a note. I don't, I mean, you can send to LinkedIn and send to, wherever you have it set up. But right there is right when you're writing the article, you can write a note.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, I don't know. The one thing I would need to follow up, because you guys are doing this more than I am. When you're I only have, I think, one or two that I had restreamed to Substack. I don't know. Well, you said you can't have a replay.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure.
It's automatic. You have to actually say no, deliberately say no, for it not to be. You have to deliberately say no. I've tried this as a strategy. So this replay, this event here will create a replay, and I could push send, and it would automatically go to Substack straight away, like automatically. And people might say, "Well, why aren't you doing that?" But then, if you can get it on Substack for free, why are you going to pay me $5? So I'm sort of in a way deliberately withholding some of my content so that my people that pay, I've only done this because people say they want something extra. So in a way, I've deliberately done the reverse, but I'm only withholding some of the free stuff because people who pay want extra stuff, right? And I don't want to create a lot of extra stuff. So I'm just withholding the free stuff because I'm doing shows every week.
So hold on. So you're saying, so you could push from Restream to a publication that is for a paid subscription, so that they could have access to Restream to
yeah. Well, actually, this is one of the things I wanted to mention. When you turn monetization on, this is very, 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 very important. When you turn monetization on, I only noticed this because it happened to me. When you post an article, it automatically shifts your articles to only go to those that are paying you. Right? But you can change that. You can say, no. I want everyone to get this one. Everyone gets this article, but you've got to deliberately undo it because once you turn monetization on, they assume you want to make money. So they're actually saying every article you write from now on will only go to your paid subscribers unless you tell me otherwise. So I don't have any paid subscribers, so no one's reading my stuff anymore. So I had to undo that. When I get paid subscribers, I'll deliberately give them extra. You got to give them extra. That no one's going to just pay you for that because you're a nice person. They want additional extra goodies. So, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm creating a post every day. At the moment, that's free. But when people pay me, they've got to get extra stuff. So separate to me writing an extra article for them, I'll just withhold some of the free stuff. Right? This is the plan 2026. So I'm just playing the game.
But where do you set? I'm a little lost. So when I create an article, once I have the paid subscription turned on, can I say that goes to the
It
paid
automatically
subscription?
only goes to paid people, but you can undo it.
That kind of sucks.
No, it wasn't very convenient, but it's not hard to do. So when you do this, write an article. When you're exactly in the same spot you just talked about, when you go to push it out, it'll say, "Do you want this to go to everyone or just paid subscribers?" And you choose. You choose that at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's going to go to everyone, and free subscribers get an email, yes or no. Paid subscribers only, yes or no. And it's just a button you push just before you push send.
Okay.
And it's very easy to do. And the reason why this is so important is it's the absolute antithesis of what we've been explaining. We have all of the options. Not only do we have entrees and desserts and main course, we've got a soup, we've got a buffet, we've got drinks, we've got cocktails, we've got an after party, there's a disco up the road, there's a chauffeur, there's someone meeting you at the door. You can get your dishes done. They'll polish your shoes if you want, right? So separate to the restaurant only offering main courses, this is the full shebang. Like, this is everything you need is right here. One stop, one shop. I love one-stop shops. This is everything I'll ever need now. I may never leave.
And I think to your point, though, there has to be a little bit of planning. And what I mean by that is, for your publication, I'm assuming, like for me, I'm going to want to have a publication. Let's just say, whatever you want to call it, a pre-launch access, no, early access. So for, I don't know, $8 or whatever a month, or annually, $80. Well, no, it'd be $96 a year. You get early access to any of my tracks, or to listen to them. Like I said, I still have to figure out.
And I think you were out at this time. I actually propose that you have a sort of song of the month club. So for $8 a month, you get to choose one of the songs from the catalog, or you get a copy of the latest song, whatever you choose. So I've got 200 songs to choose from. For $8 a month, you can have one of them. Any one you want, I'll send it to you. Or you get early access to the brand new one. I'll send it to you as a WAV file, exclusive to subscribers only. Right? So people who really dig your stuff go, mate, you send it to me. Whatever you got, send it to me. I'll pay $8 for that. You're getting the song as it comes out, brand new, first access before it hits the streets, so to speak.
Yeah, I have to figure out. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is on certain things. I don't know if you can do this on audio or video for that matter, but there's a switch to say, make this downloadable.
I haven't seen
that. Yeah, I noticed that. So again, I'm going to do a little digging, but I do want potentially. Right now, I'm using Bandcamp, and because they're huge, known music sites. But they're also, Bandcamp takes 30% off the top.
Wow.
Yeah, and you pay for DistroKid. It's not ridiculously expensive, but it's still some money.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, Keith, is Bandcamp for a track is a minimum. They have a minimum amount of $1 US. It's a little more than $1 US.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, so that's 70 cents, right, per track. Well, that's 70 cents I don't get right now for
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
But you've got to send people to another site. Like if you found that people really dig what you're doing, and
Yep.
you've got say 1,000 subscribers,
Yep.
and you say, look, and we know the numbers, about 5 to 10% of subscribers do upgrade.
Yep.
So for $8 a month, you get a song a month, the brand new song, right?
Yep.
For $80 a year, you get a song a month plus one extra for the convenience of paying extra. And for the Founders Club, which is what they call it, Founders Club, I'll write you a song. Whatever you want, but you might say, okay, well, for the privilege of paying that much money, whatever it is, $2.95, I'll write you a song.
Mm.
Right? So, song of the month plus one, I'll write you a song. Right? Now, that's a very entry level product to say, this is what I do, and I've got plenty to choose from. You choose, and I'll send it to you. And as you get
Yeah.
bigger, you just scale up.
Yep.
And eventually it'll just be, here's the latest song, sending it to you now. So that initially it'll be choose from the catalog, but then you'll start writing again and the songs come out. And if people love your songs, I mean, imagine if Bob Dylan had a subscription model where, I've just written this song, I've hacked out this song on a piano because I was at a mate's house and they just had a tape player there. Imagine how much people would pay for a song that Bob Dylan's just sort of hacked out at a party on a Friday night.
Yep.
Probably $1,000. Right? I don't know. But, it's hot off the press. Brand new. No one's heard this before. It's not even a song yet. It's just me hacking out on a piano over a bottle of whiskey. Right? Imagine how much money that would be worth. Like incalculable money.
The other thing, Keith, potentially you could do, and this is what Apple Music used to do, I don't know if they still do, is that on my free subscription, I have my catalog. I have to figure out exactly how to do this. Yeah. But you only can listen to the first 30 seconds. If you want the full song, you have to get the paid subscription. Anyway, I'll figure that stuff out. It's going to be a lot easier. My understanding is it's going to be a lot easier for me to do this on Bandcamp. They're purpose built for that. But my point was, if we get creative, there's probably a bunch of different ways to skin this cat to what we would like to do, if that makes any sense. And my sense is that Substack would be, because they already allow you to download. My gut is that they are going to support you in, as long as they can take, to your point, as long as you're sticking it in underneath their paid subscription.
Yeah. So that is brilliant. Now we've been going 2 hours on a 30-minute idea. I'm going to let you guys get to bed, or at least get to rest. I'm going to have some lunch and go for a walk around the block, perhaps, and just give me a bit of a chance to wrap up. We've talked about Repurpose 3030. Talked about a lot of things. What do you think of the highlights from today, Americo, and what would you like people to know about you?
Well, today's highlights were we started talking about LinkedIn. We ended up talking about Substack. And what we've learned is that these are two unique, purpose-built platforms that may or may no longer serve everyone's purpose. If I put them on a scale, I'd say Substack is more versatile than LinkedIn is for those of us who want to be known for cross-functional expertise.
Yep.
In terms of myself, listen, I continue to enjoy and make the best of LinkedIn, for better or worse, I'm learning to adapt and adopt and try to wrap my head around what it wants me to be, and how it wants me to get in front of my community. It remains my top performing platform, but I understand that, LinkedIn cannot be that proverbial basket in which I put all my eggs in. Substack is where I want to grow organically. I don't want people to migrate from where they are now. I want to be able to meet new community members where they're at. I
Yeah.
will do some experimenting in December. I'm not planning any new shows, but there's a good chance there'll be some pop-up events as a result of my tests, some ad hoc shows that may result out of it. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to start 2026 on a good, strong momentum after having conducted all these tests. I want to be able to
Experiment.
bring value not only to myself but the community that I serve.
Yeah. Well, and Mike, how can people find you, and what do you want people to know about you?
Well, my the best site for Substack is Substack at Mike LeBlanc USA. You can find me on LinkedIn at ML Infosec. I can drop that momentarily. The one thing that I have found interesting is really finding the platform that is fit for purpose for what you want to do. And I would say, and I don't want to beat a dead horse on Substack, but I think it's also, there's other places, like I said. I think TikTok, which I didn't really want to be involved with, but I'm thinking primarily for a younger crowd, that's where the eyeballs are. So if I'm going to try to get younger eyeballs towards my streaming on Discord, DistroKid, or my tracks for Bandcamp, that's probably going to be one of my primary platforms. That also means, however, much like YouTube, that I do need to have some video content, which is something I've been working on and trying to figure out with, I think it's 15 seconds ish for TikTok. So and that would probably fit somewhere in a shorts or reels. So my overall plan is to keep on building out Substack with for specific for the music, DistroKid, and again once I have my setup there, I will start broadcasting that. But that's the plan between now and the end of the year, to start getting my tracks out into the public.
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to try a different idea today. This was Mike's idea. I'm uploading the song onto the Restream Studio platform. We're not exactly happy with the sound, but we're going to try this. This is a song that I think sums up what we've been doing. Substack is going mainstream, but instead of playing it through Windows Media Player, I've uploaded it onto Substack, onto Restream. I'm going to play it. It's a bit soft, and we can't get it to sound any louder, but we are playing around with it, and I want to know what you think. I'll go after this, but we'll just have a bit of a regroup after that, and then we'll go off into the sunset and do our thing.
Substack is going mainstream. From a niche to a digital dream. Voices rise, breaking the frame. It's a new frontier with a familiar name. It started as a whisper, a spark in the feed. Creators find their voice and created Voices rise, breaking the frame. It's a new frontier with a familiar name. The challenge is the balance to stay true and free. Hold that creator's soul in the storming sea. 2025, the year we decide how far the wave goes, how wide the tide. Can we scale the mountain without losing the art? Every platform's heartbeat starts in the heart. Substack is going mainstream. From a niche to a digital dream. Voices rise, breaking the frame. It's a new frontier with a familiar name. Substack is going mainstream. From a niche to a digital dream. Voices rise, breaking the frame. It's a new frontier with a familiar name. Substack is going mainstream. From a niche to a digital dream. Voices rise, breaking the frame. It's a new frontier with a familiar name. Substack is going mainstream.